Oh, thank goodness you clicked on this video. If you don't save me, that's it. I'm done. Listen carefully. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and watch the video to the end. Basically, this is all that's needed. Recently, I've accumulated so many interesting facts in my head that it will soon blow off if I don't share it with anyone. Because there are so many crazy facts there, I would never believe they're real. It's also important that you watch the video and stop this suffering. Remember, my life is in your hands, and in my hands is not what you think, pervert, but a portion of incredible facts about the world. So, let's get started. Saudi Arabia imports sand and camels from Australia, which is 6,835 miles away, all because this country is a real example of large-scale construction for which they need sand. Not an ordinary one, but a beach one that has been polished by streams of water for thousands of years. This kind of sand is in short supply in Arabia, but it's abundant in Australia. The same with camels. The British brought these animals to Australia from India and Afghanistan. They were a convenient means of transport until cars appeared. In the 20th century, Australians released them into the wild where they bred and interbred with spiders. Okay, it's not true about spiders. Although, who knows, this Australia. In Saudi Arabia, there is an acute shortage of camels because here it's not only a national symbol, but also one of the favorite dishes. A little more about animals and geography. It's a rather sad fact, but polar bears and penguins have never met each other in the wild. They live on opposite sides of the earth, and there's no chance that their destinies will ever cross. It's a shame, because an interesting animal could come out of their union. Speaking of genetics, here's another fact for you. If you take and stretch all your DNA, it will reach Pluto and return back. That's about 8.5 billion kilometers. But it's better not to do that because you can die. You must have heard of Oxford University, but did you know that this institution was founded earlier than the Aztec Empire? It was created in 1096. This is 400 years before the Aztecs built their beautiful capital of Tenochtitlan. Yes, I finally said it right. Then the conquistadors completely destroyed it, but that's another story. Gosh, these people can't just travel, they need to destroy something. If you really want to get to the other side of the planet, but there are no plane tickets, you can try to drill a tunnel through the entire Earth. If you jump there, then theoretically, you'll be on the other side of the planet in just 42 minutes. And now a life hack for self-proclaimed transplantologists, or cannibals. If you caught a person and cut out their liver, you can cut it in two to save money, and it will still function. The liver is one of the few human organs capable of regeneration. If even 1/7 of the tissue is preserved, it can be restored to the required size over time. But bigger does not always mean better. Here's the proof. The lighter was actually invented even before matches, but it was so big that it could set a city on fire. It was invented by Da Vinci, but due to its massiveness and frankly not very pleasant appearance, this infernal machine did not catch on. Actually, like many other inventions of a genius, for example, a tank or a helicopter. The prototype of the modern lighter of more or less normal size did not appear until 1823, and 4 years later the apothecary John Walker invented the match with yellow phosphorus. You could lose consciousness from its fumes, but in those days, the most popular pastime was still smoking opium, so phosphorus didn't scare anyone. People in general really like to invent things that can kill them. And they have been doing it since ancient times. For example, the well-known Italian company Beretta, which is engaged in the production of weapons, appeared as early as 1526. That is, in the Renaissance era. The first successful use of their weapons was in 1571 when Beretta barrels helped defeat the Ottoman Empire at the Battle of Lepanto. So if you get shot with a Beretta, the story itself will kill you. Continuing the theme of death, each nation has its favorite form of death penalty. In France, it's the guillotine. It may seem it was used in the distant past, but in fact, the last execution by guillotine took place in 1977. Just so you understand, the first Star Wars was released that year. Yes, people are incredible creatures, but there are some who are not inferior to them. Genetically, mushrooms are much closer to humans than to plants. But this is not the most interesting fact about them today. One of the largest living organisms on Earth is also a mushroom, or rather, a whole colony of mushrooms, which is located in eastern Oregon. and covers an area of 2,200 acres. Most of it, of course, is underground, and therefore it's not completely known whether it really is one whole organism or several close neighbors. In any case, according to calculations, this giant can be more than 600 tons, and its age is estimated from 2,400 to 8,000 years. Scientists believe that this monster was able to grow to such a size thanks to the local humid climate. Basically, this is all you need to know to worship mushrooms. Now a little about animals. Due to the fact that platypuses do not have nipples, they sweat milk. This is the most disgusting fact for today. Maybe it'll shock someone, but ponies are not children of horses, but a separate group of breeds. Previously, they were used to work in narrow mines, and now they're bred for children's equestrian sports, or simply as pets or circus animals. When an ostrich is scared, it does not hide its head in the sand, but runs away at a speed of 59 miles per hour. The myth of the head in the sand came to us from ancient Rome. Returning home from campaigns, Roman soldiers brought with them many stories about both people and the unusual and beautiful animals they saw when they slaughtered the civilian population in the cities. Most likely, the Romans saw ostriches put their heads in the sand, but it was not out of fear. There are several versions. By resting their heads on the ground, ostriches can feel the vibration and understand whether someone dangerous is approaching them or not. Ostriches also eat stones to speed up the digestion process. They can eat several pounds in a day, but sometimes they have to dig their beaks deep into the sand to find stones. There is such an animal as a Spalax mole. This is a super ugly rodent with huge teeth, and every fact about it is amazing. These creatures have a social hierarchy like bees. They're cold-blooded, and also they can't get cancer. This is so impressive that there are whole groups of scientists whose main task is to cause cancer in poor Spalaxes. They succeeded a few times, but in the vast majority, the Spalaxes didn't care about both the scientists and cancer. They simply didn't see the threat. Just imagine that you were born with immunity to cancer and a bunch of geniuses get paid to grow malignant tumors in you. So if the zombie apocalypse comes and you find yourself immune to the virus, don't tell anyone. They'll experiment on you, just like the poor Spalaxes. Moving on, if space is truly infinite, its center will be any point in space. That is, no matter what your mother, teacher, or your significant other tells you from a certain point of view, you are the center of the universe. More people drown in deserts than die from dehydration. There's nothing scarier than a downpour in the desert. Water floods the sand, forming powerful flows of mud that can knock down not only one person, but also a house. Even though there are many deserts on our planet, there's also enough greenery. There's an assumption that there are even more trees on Earth than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Sounds like fiction, right? But some studies say it may be true. It should be noted that this is still an assumption and not a fact, because no one in their right mind will count every single tree on Earth, just as there's no way to count every star in the galaxy. But currently, scientists are inclined to the conclusion that there are from 100 to 400 billion stars in our galaxy, and there are approximately 3 trillion trees on Earth. Of course, if you have nothing to do, you can check this fact. Or there's another option: how to spend a few extra years of life. Stand on the equator and turn on the stopwatch. As soon as 1 billion years have passed, take 1 step forward. Repeat this until you completely circle the globe. When you return to the starting point, take 1 drop of water from the Pacific Ocean and start all over again. At the end of each circle, take another drop. Once the Pacific Ocean is empty, keep taking 1 step every billion years. Repeat this 1,167,000 times. If you finish and look at the stopwatch, it'll show the number of seconds that corresponds to the number of unique combinations in a standard deck of 52 cards. Now think about your chances of beating the casino. That is, every time you shuffle a deck of cards, they fall in a unique order. Any shuffling of cards will create a combination that has never existed before in any casino in the world. Cockroaches are really hardy creatures. They can go without food for a long time and are even able to live without a head for up to 2 weeks. But they are not immortal. In 1963, scientists decided to study the effect of radiation on insects in laboratory conditions. It turns out that cockroaches will be among the first insects to die if one crazy bald old man decides to blast the world with his nuclear missiles. A dose of 6,400 reds will kill 93% of all these nasty insects. Yes, this is still a much higher dose than a person can withstand, but somehow it still makes me happier to know that something can kill them. And here's something else important. Remember, you can live without water, food, and air until death. And it's simply impossible to live without our videos. So click on the one that appeared on your screen and watch. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.